How you doing? Welcome back into the den. I'm Tobin, episode 21 in my Razor review series, the Razorock Game Changer. Going to follow the same format as in the previous videos in the series. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Lupo and a couple of other razors. I've owned this one now a couple of years, and I have two plates for it, the 0.68 millimeter and the 0.84 millimeter. Talk about that and my experiences with them, and then here in a few I'll also share with you some of the other options for the Game Changer. When the Game Changer first came out in 2018, 2019, whenever it was, I already owned two Razorock razors, and while I enjoyed them, I wasn't crazy about them. I purchased the Slock, that's the self-lubricating open comb, their dual open comb, and I had already had in my arsenal the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements DOC, the original dual open comb is what they call it. And when I got it, it had more blade feel, and it just didn't have the same experience, and I liked it less than I did the Phoenix Artisan DOC. And then the other razor that I owned at the time and still own is what they call the German 37 slant, which is a clone essentially of the Merkur 37C. And I preferred the Merkur more than the Razorock. So while I didn't dislike either one of those two razors, I wasn't in a rush to purchase a third. And when Italian Barber, who is the company that makes the Razorock brand, when they came out with the Game Changer, to be honest, it didn't turn my head. I liked the idea of the price point, but I felt it was a little not cocky, arrogant maybe, but I just kind of scoffed at the idea. Now, years later, and after owning it for several years and looking back on it and preparing for this razor review, in a lot of ways it was a game changer. In a lot of ways it wasn't a game changer. And the way that I feel that it was a game changer was the way that it changed the game wet shaving with price point. It's still to this day, you can buy the complete razor, one plate, for $55. So what it did was it really changed the expectation of what a high-end razor could be, but at a mid price point. And so for me, in a lot of ways, that Game Changer moniker, the name, has kind of become a standard bearer for the community today, to where now looking back, it kind of did change the game. And the way that it changed the game for myself was it changed expectations of what a affordable stainless steel razor could be. Let's get into this. So the previous razor I reviewed was the Lupo. I love the Lupo. I really do. When I'm looking for one of my favorite razors with blade feel, I reach for the Lupo. When I'm wanting something with less blade feel, so here's my Game Changer. Where's my Lupo? Oh, come on, Tobin. I got all these razors right here in front of me. And here's my Lupo. So just got done doing the Lupo. Hey, how you doing? Fantastic razor. A lot of blade feel. The Game Changer is the exact opposite. It's almost neutral in terms of exposure. You get just a little bit of blade feel, to where this is, loud, and there's no denying that blade when you bring it across the face. This is more of a whisper in terms of how much blade you feel. It's just slightly positive. Now, the 0.68 millimeter is the smallest plate that you can get for this razor, and I have a tendency personally that when I see that 0.68, I think of a very small gap. But when we convert the 0.68 to inches, we end up with 0.027 of an inch. So the Vintage Tech, the page that I've been using from Rec Supply is 0.020, almost 0.51. It's like 0.508 millimeters, but almost 0.51 millimeters. So in comparison to a blue tip from Gillette or the standard ball-in tech 0.020, this 0.027 or 0.68 millimeters is actually quite large. And because of that, if I throw a Kai or some other efficient blade in it, Bic Platinum, a feather, that type of thing, I can get a damn fine shave almost always if I'm trying to a BBS, 3 passes and a cleanup. And so because of that, for the 0.68 millimeter, I'm going to give it a 5. It is an extremely average efficiency razor, but at the same time, it doesn't feel overly efficient, and that's due in part to that just slight positive exposure. It just is, when you bring it to the face, you only feel the blade a little bit, and I think that's great for a lot of new wet shavers because it gives you just enough blade feel without being intimidating. And then the 0.84 millimeter, there's the 0.6, there's the points, I'll put these on the screen, the 0.76 I do not have. I do have the 0.84 millimeter, I do not have the 105 millimeters. 0.84 millimeters, that comes out to 0.033 inches, which is a fairly substantial blade gap. If I even put just a moderate blade in it, it could be a Gillette Silver Blue, I'm going to get a 3-pass damn fine shave or baby butt smooth shave every single time. I'm going to give plate 7 or the 0.84 millimeter a 7. So the 0.68 a 5 and the 0.84 a 7. Now with the Razorock Game Changer, what's super cool about it is they have a total of 8 different plates. They have the 4 different standard closed comb straight bar that I have here. But then they also have the open comb, which is what you would expect in open comb. And then they have the jaws. And the way that the jaws is different is the jaws is even more efficient than what the open comb is. And there's a couple of the ways that they've done that. And the easiest way to see how they've done that is there's fewer teeth and they're further apart, allowing more hair to flow in there and make quick access to the blade. So with this Game Changer, I think you can take it from anywhere with this 0.68 to, a moderately efficient shave to the most efficient shave ever. And I do consider this type of razor, just like the Rockwell 6S, just like the Lupo, I do consider these to be adjustable. And, I hear people say that the Razorock and that the Rockwell 6S, 6C aren't adjustable. If we look at the definition of the word adjustable, it's anything being able or capable of being adaptable. So while it's not a twist or dial adjustable like the Fat Boy, the $1.95 from Gillette, it can still be adjusted. So you can adjust this razor from a moderate shave to, I'm only assuming because I have never tried, the Jaws, one of the most efficient shaves you'll ever experience with the DE. So 5 and a 7 for the 2 plates I have. Moves us down into what I call the Symmetry score. With it, we're looking at the knurling, weight and balance, and blade tabs. Just like with the Lupo, using the same handle, a thick bar is what they call it. The weight and balance is perfect. The blade tabs do not stick out. It's a 10. It is absolutely perfect, in my opinion. Let's keep moving along. The tolerance score. So blade alignment and chatter. With this one, if you're familiar with, the Mamba, this head goes together just like it. And I'll put some photos up there. And the one way that I recommend loading this is just like you would any other razor. That when you set the blade in it, that you just set the blade right on the post. You don't even mess with these little tabs. I watch people do that in videos and had conversations with friends. I just set it in there, align it the best that I can, take the bottom plate, set it on top, and then it just locks right in. And you don't even have to have it that straight when you put it on there. It just has to be close. And then these little nubs will come down and put it right into place for you, and then just put it together. For a tolerance score, blade alignment and chatter, there's virtually no chatter. Finding a razor at this price point that has a better tolerance score is going to be virtually impossible. But because it is a little more challenging than the Lupo with the blade alignment, I'm going to give it a 9.5, just because I feel like razors, traditional razors like the Rockwell, where you have the 3 posts sticking up, are easier to align. There's just less thought. I'm going to give this a 9.5, and that's just because of the extra thought that has to be put into loading the blade. Permanence score, durability and construction materials. The head, 316 stainless steel. The handle, 316 stainless steel. Permanence score, a 10. Friendliness to new wet shavers. I really don't think that you can find a better stainless steel legacy piece at this price anywhere, with the exception of maybe the Rockwell. But if we're just looking at the 0.68 millimeter, because that we're talking about new wet shavers, someone who's on their first razor, second razor, or third razor, I would recommend that they get the 0.68 millimeter. That's $54.99 for the complete razor. And then if you wanted to, for another $30, you could add another plate like the 0.84 or the 0.76. It is more spendy than the Rockwell. I would recommend the Rockwell to a new wet shaver before I would this one. I'm going to give it an 8, with 5 being an average, easy recommendation, or 10 being like the easiest to recommend, which would be more in line with the Rockwell. This would be an 8, to where I'm going to discuss it a little bit and wouldn't be as quick to recommend it to a new wet shaver. Now, in terms of value, it's a 10 all day long. $54.99 for a complete razor, $30 for a second plate, and then the way that you can, go open comb or with the jaws, as they call it. I really think that experienced wet shavers like myself, that this is an easy 10. You're going to get your money's worth out of this razor. The way that everything is just set up, from the lather channels to the recessed blade, there's a lot to love about the Game Changer. It's little big things, my friends. As always in this series, value. And I absolutely feel like I've gotten every penny out of the Game Changer, and that I will continue to enjoy it and get damn fine shaves, and that it will outlive me. Take care, and I'll see you next time.